Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Argentina, South America, FlyJuly 2022, the event that's being run by our friends over at Orbx at the moment. This week's theme is South America, so thanks to Alberto in the chat, in fact. Good morning to you in Chile. We're flying here from Buenos Aires in Argentina over to Santiago, Chile, and we're over there in the Aerolíneas Argentinas Boeing 737-700. We've got a few flying along as well, so if you are flying along today, make sure you've fired up Volanta, and then when you import your route, be sure to add the tag, the flight tag, FlyJuly, and it will get you an entry then into the competition today. So this is CentralSim's Argentina Buenos Aires scenery, available for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The links are in the description. They describe themselves as a effectively a good value developer. So we're not expecting macro simulations levels and things like that, but it is a nice scenery which complements what is quite a large city as well, I guess. A couple of custom jetways up to the actual air bridge itself, which is then default. But at the moment, I think it's on sale at Sim Market for about £5, so very cheap indeed. Purchased it in preparation for today's live stream. Nice custom apron area. Got a few flying along. Various aircraft today. LATAM, JetSmart, Osprey as well, of course. Commentator, good afternoon, and Doctor on board, good evening to you. And there we are, Aerolíneas Argentinas. And thanks to the LukeAirTool today, we've actually got a full suite of cabin announcements. Look at that for a skyscraper in the background there. Fire trucks are out to say hello. latinvfr's ground equipment. And quite a cool modern livery for the Argentinian national airline. I believe they're the national airline of Argentina. I might be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Member of Sky Teams Alliance as well. Not too bad, is it? For a fairly basic scenery, but it gives you everything you want with good performance, so can't complain. Certainly better than default and only a few pounds. Got the APU fired up, with APU generators fired up as well, as you guys will find out in a second. And most of the route already all input ready to go too. So our flight time today is going to be around about 2 hours throughout today's one sector live stream across South America. Mostly across Argentinian airspace as well. If you're new to the channel, very warm welcome on board. Please do hit like and subscribe down below as well. Come say hi in the live chats, and thank you to everybody flying along too. Bit of a different time than usual. So here we are. Heart brake set, battery standby, power is all on, as you can see, and the guards are closed. We've worked through our pre-flight and before start checks all the way down to that's the passenger signs, window heat, wheel damper, fuel pump, APU bleeds. There we go. So APU generators are on at the moment. You can see up here that it's generating power. We need to bleed the APU. Packs are on automatic, left and right, and isolation valve is open. Set FMC and obtain clearance. So what we've done so far in here, we've imported our route thanks to SimBrief, and there's our init ref. So flight level 370 for cruise today. Oh, commentator, very nice. Lefty Lab, hello to you, good morning, looking forward to the stream, good to hear. Transition altitude of 3000 for our departure, and M1 limits we have got on our performance calculations today. Takeoff 2, climb profile 2, and that's just wiped my V speeds out, which is fine. Lap 5, center of gravity of 19%. McKell, hello buddy, welcome. Gaza, so it's not on Volanta as such, you need to go onto the tags to add them in. In fact, let's go to Volanta now and I'll show you exactly where to add the tag, and then what it does is it gets you an entry. So there's our route, and we've imported it from SimBrief, so we've set everything we need. You then go to the Notes tab, and here where it says Tags, you want to add. You press the little plus sign, you can add a tag for FlyJuly. Then you press enter and it will submit it there. Basically, each week throughout July, Orbx are hosting various different themes. This one is this week's theme, ends in 2 days. And you can win Orbx prizes and Volanta goodies. Pretty cool. Switching across from Volanta to navigraph. There we are. Right on the edge, we're having to board by steps, support us. And we're going to taxi out on Alpha to Hold Point Alpha, runway 31, and then we're going to depart. In fact, we might have to do Bravo. Doesn't give us any alternate stuff here. It's fine. We'll use Alpha because we've actually planned our takeoff run for that. But I might try and recalculate for Bravo. We're going to then depart 3-1 onto the El Palomar 8 departure. So initially heading north up the coast towards San Fernando International, and then at or above 800 feet turning right 040 degrees to 15.5 DME. And that's in the legs page as well on the FMC, if you see on the right side of your screens. 15.5 turning right heading 250 all the way back to El Palomar. And then we're going to head westbound 282 degrees to NEPIS to transition out to the airways. Had a beep beep, and we've got ATC, fantastic. Cruise of flight level 380 today. He sent me a little message. Let's see. Deal with a quick bit of admin from him. Happy days. 1350 off blocks. Sorting out a couple of bits here, and we actually can start using the LukeAirTool. We can start with the welcome announcement.
Bienvenidos a Aerolíneas. Con más de 65 años de antigüedad, somos una compañía legacy líder en Argentina, volando a 37 destinos dentro del país y 22 destinos internacionales con más de 340 partidas diarias. Contamos con 4 corredores que conectan el país, sumando además el Hub Córdoba, un verdadero centro de distribución que conecta de forma dinámica el norte y el sur del país sin pasar por Buenos Aires, generando más y mejores conexiones a nuestros pasajeros. Año a año batimos nuestros récords en cantidad de pasajeros transportados. Unimos empresas, integramos negocios entre el polo petroquímico y el polo petrolero y conectamos los principales puertos de Argentina con el corredor atlántico. Para optimizar nuestros servicios, disponemos de una flota totalmente renovada de más de 80 aeronaves.
Make sure our cruise is valid, and we've still got forward entry doors sorted out here too. So let's go to menu, FS actions, doors close, ground services, heartbreak on. Let's remove the chocks, and it's then going to actually now work to get rid of the stairs.
Una aeronave de última generación, más moderna y eficiente, que nos permite ofrecer el mejor servicio a nuestros pasajeros. Sabemos que nuestros pasajeros
Prudent. I'm not sure actually.
Por eso ponemos nuestro foco en ser líderes
Doc, thank you. Nightbot. There's no giveaway today, folks. That was last stream, so not sure what's going on with Nightbot. Bear with me. I'll make sure the timers are off. Yeah, good point. Well spotted, folks. Thank you.
Por eso, además de tener la red de vuelo más completa dentro de Argentina, con una amplia cobertura en Latinoamérica y el Caribe, gracias a nuestros acuerdos comerciales con
Silly Nightbot. Pretty sure I turned that off the other week. No idea what this guy's saying. We've got information alpha.
En abril de 2017, fuimos elegidos por la gente como el tercer mejor programa de pasajeros frecuentes del año en los
What have we got here? PDC, okay.
Ampliamos los servicios adicionales, renovamos nuestra web, sumamos seguidores en las redes y lanzamos Bravo, un nuevo concepto
Argentina
de entretenimiento a bordo
1280.
con estrenos, películas clásicas, series internacionales,
0311.
y videos musicales. Mejoramos nuestro salón Cóndor, Un lugar pensado para que nuestros pasajeros puedan descansar, disfrutar de una nueva
Cruise flight level
oferta de catering de
380,
la mano
flight
del
plan
chef
routes
Emanuel Salienga
approved,
y la bodega Molinos,
SID is runway
trabajar o
31 and
simplemente
PAL 8 via
relajarse antes de
NEPI,
su
which is
vuelo
what we
o entre
just discussed.
conexiones. SkyTeam. Somos parte de la alianza SkyTeam, compuesta por 20 aerolíneas de todo el mundo, permitiéndonos
Okay,
conectar
so
a
we've got
nuestros
PDC
pasajeros con más de
clearance.
1000
All we need to do then is
destinos
request push
internacionales,
start with
además de
PDC.
ofrecer
So
los beneficios de Sky Priority, SkyTeam, Global Meetings y Sky Transfer.
we're going to
Sky
push
Priority ofrece prioridad exclusiva
all
en
the
más
way
de 1000
back
aeropuertos del mundo, brindando prioridad y atención especial al momento de hacer el check-in, despacho de equipaje,
onto
control
that
de seguridad
taxiway.
de pasaportes, embarque y entrega de equipaje. SkyTeam Global Meetings, una herramienta online que
Rock and
permite
roll.
a los participantes
Steve G, no worries, buddy.
interesados en asistir a eventos internacionales comprar sus pasajes con descuentos de
Make
hasta el
peace.
15%
How strange. Never
volando
noticed
con
that
todas
before.
las aerolíneas miembros de la alianza
Pre-plan,
en más de
pushback.
1050 destinos. Además, por cada 50 tickets vendidos, el organizador recibe un pasaje liberado. Sky Transfer. El programa Sky Transfer en los centros de operación más importantes tiene como objetivo ofrecer transbordo de pasajeros y manejo
long
de
push.
equipaje eficientes y sin complicaciones. Aerolíneas Plus. Nuestro programa de pasajeros frecuentes premia a nuestros clientes más fieles con la posibilidad de sumar millas cada vez que viajan con nosotros, con las líneas aéreas de la alianza SkyTeam o utilizando los servicios de las empresas asociadas al programa. Ofrecemos tarifas corporativas flexibles con un producto moderno, eficiente y confiable,
Got initial climb on the
brindando
PDC.
soluciones a cada problema gracias a nuestros equipos de
PDC.
profesionales capacitados en cada
Initial
una
climb
de
level
nuestras más de
380,
70
okay.
oficinas en todo
Up
el
we
mundo.
go.
Adaptamos la política de viajes de nuestros clientes a convenios eficientes y competitivos, ofreciendo además importantes descuentos a los destinos corporativos.
John,
de la red de
hello,
aerolíneas
Phantom,
argentinas
welcome.
y
Make
Australia,
peace, hi.
permitiendo que las empresas
Right.
acumulen puntos para
Where's
cambiar
my
por
checklist?
waivers y facilitando que no
That's
queden
done.
pasajes
Altimeter
sin
set,
usar.
transponder set, fuel and loading boarding
Sus
complete,
proyectos y
takeoff data set.
negocios
We've
se
cross-checked
conectan
those
con
and the NCP
Aerolíneas
set with
Argentinas.
departure brief. Flight directors are on, radio frequencies are set. What we do want to do is actually tune the VORs because we're using the El Palomar VOR, which is 1152.
This is the radar, Proximate 1002 here with information Alpha request function start.
1002, good evening, good morning, push and start up.
Steve, yeah, I use decreased throttle.
Push and start approved, report ready taxi for Proximate 1002.
What's this guy's call sign? Ezeza Radar. How is my pronunciation going to be today? Let's, God. Ezeza Radar, good morning, Argentina 1280, yeah. On stand 19 with PDC clearance and information Alpha, request push and start.
Argentina 1280, good evening, push and start approved. You have a long push till Alpha.
Cockpit to ground.
Push start approved and long push to Alpha, Wilco, Argentina 1280. Hey, okay, he's getting in the way. Let's go anti-collision lights on. Let's get on the way, shall we, folks? That wasn't bad, Alberto says. Oh, thank goodness. Fuel pumps, checking the centre tanks, they're empty, so we just need 1 and 2 aft and forward tanks to be switched on, and ignition mode selector is set to both. We're going to go engine start, switch for number 2 first. Once the push to start has begun.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set, lifting the aircraft.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Right,
Commencing push
now that was a
back.
long
Start the engine.
entry demo thingy, so let's
You
start
will
the
start in
safety
the
demonstration as well. Probably just as long. Set that to ground. Watching the N2. Engine T's and P's rising normally. 20 to 25% folks for the N2 will then engine 2 fuel control lever will flick that to run. What have we missed? Packs off.
SABE has suggested event to use it for this instruction. Fastening by inserting the metal fitting into the valve and
Run.
remove the loose end detector well. To unfasten it to different tab. For your safety, we suggest
Gav, good evening, buddy. Welcome. Staying up. Oh, Alberto, brilliant. That's a long push. You know what? For £5, it's not bad scenery, is it? Gav, you have potentially got about 10 minutes leeway if you think you can make it. That's flying along, fantastic. Good lad. Make sure you tag Volanta with Fly Live when you fly.
Parking brake set. Parking brake set.
N2, almost at 20. Bingo.
You may disconnect. Okay, sir. Clear to disconnect. I have been moved. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Trying to get a couple of people in the screenshots here.
Vis-a-vis the Rockmart 1002 request taxi.
Proximar 1002, taxi to holding point runway 31. Via, you are in Mike and Alpha.
Okay, engine start switches to continuous.
Lima and Alpha.
Up the top, pro repeats, left and right, 1 and 2 to on. Wing engine anti-ice is not required at the moment. We need to bleed the engines. Max. Set auto. Isolation valve automatic, recirculation fan to automatic, and now we can put the bleed off for the APU and switch the APU off as well. Oh. Forgot to transfer the power across. Missed one step in the one step in that and it can throw it right out. Dual op FMC is restored. Make sure that's reset properly. Make sure we've not lost anything.
722, stand 39, ready for push start.
It's fine, 135, 145 for V2. That's good, happy with that. Lap set 5, trim set as required. System checks. All right. All left. Elevators and rudders full and free on all. Engine instruments checked. They're good. Let's clear the screen. LNAV, VNAV, auto thrust, recall. Water brake RTO. Disarm is disengaged. Taxi lights on. Argentina 1280 request taxi.
Argentina 1280, taxi to holding point on Bravo via Alpha.
Taxi holding point Bravo via Alpha, Argentina 1280. So, short taxi. You have to quickly recalculate a few bits here. 12. The takeoff performance. And it's still suggesting the same. Takeoff run required is 1463. So we're going to use most of the runway, in fact, this instance. Gonna pop that onto TARA now because I will forget I always do, making sure the trim's set neutral and following round to the right hand side here because Bravo's just coming up. Go traffic, terrain. BOR1 is tracking at the moment. We want an inbound track to PAL, don't we? So 250. Okie dokie. Barris is JetSmart 1002. Rocksmart behind, following us. Fantastic. There's Bravo coming up. John, thank you, buddy. Really appreciate the super chat. I think we've just got to do fuel flow, reset rate.
10 Aero and Buen Vuelo.
No idea what it means. Thank you very much. Argentina 1280 at Bravo, ready for departure.
Argentina 1280, winds from 340 degrees, 09 knots. You are clear for takeoff, runway 31.
Runway 31 clear for takeoff, Argentina 1280. How do you say thank you, by the way, folks, in this sort of Argentinian, is it Spanish-esque or Portuguese-esque? Text lights off, runway turn off lights on, landing lights on, transponder set to ARA, traffic set on, clock goes on, we're not going to worry about that, and everything else here is ready to go. So,
TAM 1982, I don't have
Louis,
your flight plan here. Could you
I know
please
of it,
double-check
but I know
that?
it's just full of ripped payware, so really not a fan. To be honest, don't go down anything like that. I've changed my seating position today, folks, in my actual seat, so hopefully we're not going to have too many problems. Oh, Alberto, thank you, mate. 40% with the super chat for takeoff.
1002 at holding point Bravo.
Proxima 1000, hold position please.
Roger, hold position, flight 1002.
Waiting in Santiago with hot chocolate, or pisco, for everyone.
Alberto, really generous. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that, guys, with the super chats. Feels a bit heavy today. Yeah, man. Rotate. It's in all the runway. Hold in the pitch. Gear up. Oh, hey, a little bit of bumpiness. There we go. Little bit of play. Look at that, we've flown quite a way now before we've actually managed to get airborne. Let's turn order brake off. Now we're starting to accelerate away.
Now it's correct, I'll send you the electronic format in a second.
Pop that off. Runway turn off, lights off. Engine start switches can go to automatic. You see the difference there with that really derated takeoff that we did just then. Flaps will be retracted. Actually, they're already at the up position now, so let's wind her in. Hola, Ivan, welcome.
Argentina 120, your departure 54 minutes of the hour. Please report reaching 050.
Wilco, report 050, Argentina 1280.
Proximar 1002, line up and wait, runway 31.
Line up and wait, runway 31 for Rocksmart 1002, thank you.
Gracias. Of course it is.
Zero radar, Bravo Victor X-ray 722, ready for taxi.
Who's that? They should know better.
Victor
Osprey.
722, taxi to holding point, runway 31,
Unbelievable.
Lima, Alpha and Bravo.
Okay, let's go to... I mean, it's really nice views out of here. First time, I believe, flying into or out of Argentina.
Bravo Victor X-ray 722.
We're on our way. So initially the routing takes us out to 15.5 DME away from the PAL VOR. Argentina 1280 passing flight level 50.
Argentina 1280, you are radar identified, flight level 053 and ascending. You are clear to flight level 380 and you will report level off.
Cleared to flight level 380 and we'll report levelling off Argentina 1280. Oh wow, it's a river. Silver River, Rio de la Plata. That is so vast, it almost looks oceanic, doesn't it? Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I will let you off then. Here we are, first time. Away we go, out of Argentina, off to the home of Alberto, Chile.
Proximar 1002, winds from 340 degrees, 9 knots, clear for takeoff, runway 31.
We're actually going to be turning back round towards the airfield,
Runway 31, Rocksmart 1002.
which is just off the wing. Daniela, hello to you, welcome. Dzień dobry. Actually, no, sorry, you're in Prague, aren't you? Woman in wheelchair, fantastic. Welcome. Jim's just picked up Brussels and Barcelona add-on sceneries, Aerosoft and latinvfr respectively. Yeah, they're fantastic, aren't they? Really, really, really good bits of scenery work from those guys. Through 10,000, 1 and 2 for the landing lights. And we're looking at the cabin pressure, it's pressurising normally. Seatbelt signs, they're on automatic. We could, in theory, just turn the fasten belts off.
Proximar 1002, your departure 5 minutes of the hour. Please report reaching 050.
What we got here for a couple of views. Rich, hello to you, welcome. Look at that for a view. What we need is a Buenos Aires cityscape pack down there, because that would look fantastic in conjunction with that scenery, which I think actually for the price is quite nice. Rich, still nervous to use VATSIM? Hopefully one day you get the confidence. We're certainly here to try and help. How are we doing above?
Rocksmart 1002 passing 5,000 feet.
Proximar 1002, you are radar identified, flight level 053 and
A little bit blurry down below now,
you
but
are 4 miles to the north to the Aeroparque. Continue ascending to flight level 380 and report leveling off.
Roger, continue flight level 380.
oh, Alberto, I'm sure one day it will come.
Rocksmart 1002, thank you.
It'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it, if we can get like a big South America world update. Perhaps they could throw in a few significant upgrades to some of the big airports as well. I'd like to see Rio de Janeiro properly put in. River Plate Football Stadium below us there.
These are radar, Osprey 722, holding Bravo, runway 31.
Osprey 722, line up and wait, runway
Look at
31.
that, it's so vast.
Line up and wait, runway 31, Osprey 722.
Jim, absolutely. Yeah, Airbus is push a button, it'll fly it all for you, it'll do it all for you. With the 737, you have to have a lot of the stuff added in. You've got to manage the systems. You've got to make sure that you're monitoring things as well. So yeah, a lot more immersive, a lot more required from each pilot as well. I really enjoy it. Definitely my favourite. It's a bit more hands-on, and to hand fly it as well, very, very, very nice indeed. A little bit of modern elements to it, a little bit of old school all blended into one with the 737. Makes it quite unique, I suppose. Alberto, we've got the latinvfr Santiago scenery. So some payware to enjoy on arrival. And we're live weather, live time too, he says.
Osprey 722, winds from 340 degree, 9 knots, clear for takeoff, runway 31.
Thank you very much, sir. Clear for takeoff, runway 31, Osprey 722.
I know what happened for takeoff. Because the bus power flicked across, I reckon the auto throttle being armed, I reckon I must have missed that. Unless, oh, I'm going to have to watch it back and work out what went wrong there, because we definitely ended up with a bit more of a derated takeoff than what we intended. We made it up though, that's the main thing. Oh, Alberto, fantastic. Yeah, they're included, I think. Concourse Charlie and Echo.
1002, fly direct to position NEPIS.
Direct to NEPIS for Rockmart 1002.
Tomorrow we should be handling a brand new RD Presets Naples scenery preview, but I'm waiting for the email with it in as a package. If they can get it done in time, hopefully they can. But we've got to watch this space. It was a really big flip up actually. We were kind of torn, almost 50-50 in the members lounge between flying the Fenix A320 with the LATAM livery today or flying this Argentina, Aerolíneas Argentinas livery, and this ended up just winning by 1 vote. Although granted it was a quick poll. We're going to be in a Blue Air 737 tomorrow. We're going to be flying Bucharest to Naples.
Osprey 722, you are identified 4 miles to the north to Aeroparque. climate restricted.
I remember the last time we flew into Chile. I think it was during a big group flight, and Alberto gave us a tour of all the areas that he's been.
380 will report levelling off.
With a fantastic route that went through the mountains. 10,000 to go till top of climb. Winds at the the weather at the moment in Santiago is winds are variable at 2 knots. Visibility only 5,000 meters in haze. Broken cloud 14,000 feet and 23,000 feet. The temperature is 7 degrees Celsius. Dew point +3 in a QNH 1012. Yeah, never flown into Santiago, I don't think, have we? Gonna be good. And PMDG, with an update recently on their forum, said that the 800 is still on track for a release in mid to late August. Very exciting. And we're also expecting the 737-600 fairly soon too. And looking forward to trying both of those out and sharing some content with you guys for both of those. By far the best add-on in MSFS right now. So good. A lot to learn initially. Was a lot to learn, definitely a lot to learn. Especially we got used to the easiness, the simplicity of the Airbus. This looks great, sounds great, flies wonderfully, and Sim Update 10 being very close over the next few weeks, it's going to enable the developers the ability to actually add in a weather radar too, so we can then look forward to that. And the PMDG's new EFB going in very soon. Shame we can't fast forward weather with the forecast, Alberto, in the sim.
722, fly direct to position NEPIS.
Fly direct to position NEPIS, Osprey 722.
Good to see the Fly Live Studio thing's broken again. Let me refresh it for you guys so you've got an overlay working on the top of your screen. We need Volanta. Volanta is going to be creating one at some point. Where are we flying from? SABE to SCEL. AIG 1280. Bingo. 1 hour 29 to go. Willie Canuck, welcome. Captain Kenobi, yeah, so PMDG will be releasing it on the Xbox at some point in the future. I think they were targeting around sort of winter time, weren't they? Or fall into winter. Alberto, yes, looking forward to that. Airfield elevation, Santiago's, or at least for our elevation and the overhead panel here, it's 1,600 feet. So we're going to be landing through some terrain. I'm hoping the haze will break because, let's see if I can show you. In fact, let's use Volanta. Let's change the map settings. Here we are. So I mean, you can kind of see how flat Argentina is, predominantly up to Santa Rosa, Rio Cuarto and Cordoba. And then you're going into the Andes and you can see there's just this, all the mountainous regions here, and you can see the peaks, the snow-capped peaks along Volanta on the satellite imagery here. And then we're going to be flying into Santiago, which is here. 2 runways. Parallel approaches can be used as well, and in fact this is the latest satellite imagery with the new terminal, which is quite cool, so we can kind of see what to expect. The default airport does not have this. It has the old terminal up to sort of just this sort of section. But the latinvfr Santiago includes the Charlie and Echo concourses and this Zulu taxiway in Papa and this sort of all these additional parking bays down here too, so should be quite cool. And it'll be interesting to see what it looks like flying in. Got mountains to the west, mountains to the east, and Santiago situated in the middle. A couple of mountains to the north as well actually, and a few directly to the south. So terrain clearance is going to be interesting. Let's load the nav data. So this is where we pull in all the nav data from our navigraph subscription, and we can actually end up overlaying it onto Volanta. Really good for visualizing all your routes and things. There we are. There was our little departure out with a little teardrop background to PAL, the VOR, which is here, and then we're flying outbound to the west. Let's hide this. That was the altitude C chord. We were told to level off at flight level 380. Oh, Norberto, thank you very much, gracias. Really appreciate you providing ATC today. Hope you're enjoying the traffic. Saying thanks for being here in Argentina. First time flying around in the sim. Wonderful, wonderful scenery. Great departure too. Alberto, it's going to be ILS runway 17 left Yankee, I think. Argentina 1280s leveling off flight level 380.
Argentina 1280, you are clear flight level 380 till position Tosor. You will report 5 miles before Tosor.
Okay, report 5 miles before Tosor, Argentina 1280. That's that one. We've got to report 5 miles before reaching that waypoint. Make a note of that because I will forget. 5 nautical miles before Tosor. Sweet. How about I say brilliant? Of course there is. That could be somebody with, mind you, actually, winds are variable, so it depends on what the actual, well, the prevailing runway is in Santiago. So perhaps we can use navigraph to work that out. So let's clear the Buenos Aires charts. We're expecting UMKAL 6 Charlie, but again, it depends on what the prevailing runways and stuff are. So, a little bit of weather information for the overview. Circle to land not authorized. Could well be that 35 right is the main one to use taxi charts. So this is what we want here. All of this information. Gobble it all up. Two-way comms, stage 2 noise certification must be in use. Risk of glare from laser through the night. We might need these, the low-vis taxi routes and procedures. We might need to use flight radar to work out what this is, because I can't actually see, unless I'm looking at it and I'm not actually seeing it. I can't actually work out what the...
Argentina 1280, just for your information, you have to expect UMKAL 6 Charlie for ILS Tango, runway 17 left in Santiago.
Roger, expect UMKAL 6 Charlie and the ILS Tango runway 17 left Santiago for Argentina 1280. Okay, so UMKAL 6 Charlie, ILS Tango, so we're going to go all the way down here to this little break between left and right. So each one of these, Temus and Puma, are going to be dependent on what aircraft, or what runway we're going to be landing on and what particular ILS approach we're going to be getting. We've just been told, instead of the ILS Yankee, we can expect ILS Tango, which is this one. They look very similar, they do. You can see here, the actual approach plate is almost the same, but
1002, leveling off 380.
the missed approach details are completely different. So the missed approach for the Yankee basically has you continuing south to hold at Peffel, which is this. But for the ILS Tango, what we're going to get is standard approach via Tegab.
Roger, 380 until Tesor, and we are cleared for UMKAL 6 Charlie for runway 17 left Yankee in Santiago for Rocksmart 10.
Missed approach here is passing the Santiago VOR, heading outbound 146 degrees, then left, Echo Lima 009, and then left, flying this downwind leg up to Isolo, mandatory 6000, and then back to Tegab. There's actually a hold at Tegab, or we would just give it another go. Minimums for this one down here are 1750, so that's 200 feet above ground level at our minimum point for missed approaches, and then hopefully we're going to see the runway at that point. We've got a VOR to tune 1161, but also the ILS to tune 110.3 with a course of 176 degrees. Because we've been given all the information already, Anthony, no, not running Sim Update 10 beta, buddy. We can go departure, arrivals, sorry, SCEL arrivals. We can find ILS. Can't see any Tango, so let's find the arrival then instead. UMKAL 6 Charlie. 17 left. It's going to be that one, I think. Transition via Puma. Tegab. Ah. It is Puma. Puma 6,500 for the initial approach fix as per the charts.
Sorry, did you call me?
So let's just check this. UMKAL, Puma, Tegab, final approach. Lovely. VATSIM, welcome. We can get our descent winds and our forecast put in. So transition level is going to be flight level 120 roughly. Where's the QNH? 1012. It's actually, it could be flight level 110. Letting it load the winds. Doc, absolutely yes. Alberto's saying it's very rare for anything to land and take off using 35 left or right. It's 99.999% of the time 17 left or right. H1012. So in this instance, what you're looking for now, you're probably thinking, how do you find the transition level if you don't have any ATC? So go to the charts and you'll see transition altitude 10,000, transition level by ATC. Now because the QNH is 1012, it pretty much almost matches standard pressure. Therefore, if the transition altitude is 10,000 with a QNH of 1012, if the transition level is 1100 or flight level 110, you're still going to get 1,000 foot separation between the transition level and the altitude, so you can use that. effectively you want 1,000 feet separation between the two, and you round to whatever the next highest one up is. Roberto, thank you, buddy. Thank you, thank you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please do hit subscribe, hit the like button as well, and if you don't want to miss any of our streams, make sure you click the notification bell as well. How long have we got? We've still got about an hour or so to go, haven't we? We are 1 hour 17, so we don't need to worry about tuning anything else in just yet. We can do that a little later on. For the meantime, we just need to make sure that we're passing the waypoint we've just overflown in. We can do a quick fuel check. 5.9.
The radar, 722.
5.7 is what we wanted. Good stuff. And there's a very small difference between the two tanks. That's because we were running the APU for a little while pre-departure.
6 Charlie for ILS Tango, runway 17 left in Santiago. You will report 5 miles before Tosar, please.
Okay, report 5 miles prior to Tosar, cleared to maintain flight level 380. Expect the OML 6 Charlie.
VATSIM, is it actually closing down in real life?
For Osprey 722.
I guess it was a difficult business model anyway for DSA because it's such a random little airport. Great for the local area, of course, but business, i.e. the airlines flying into and out of there, with Manchester not too far away and Leeds Bradford not too far away, kind of took away the actual point of having Doncaster Sheffield Airport. Kind of almost like Blackpool International when it had TUI and that flying in and out of there, kind of a bit pointless.
FSHub Centro, buenos días, Pluna 2201, con información beta, listo para retroceso, puesta en marcha. Pluna 2201, muy buenos
Little
días.
reminder for those of you who might have been tuning in, flying along and not necessarily caught it a little earlier on, but on Volanta you want to make sure you go to your current routes, your active flight, go to the notes and you want to add this tag FlyJuly, and then they will be able to find that basically and make sure that you do get your entry into this current week's giveaway. There's loads of Orbx made products on offer and also some Volanta premium subscriptions to be won. So definitely don't want to miss out on that. What should we hide? Let's hide upper airways and the nav aids. Actually, let's hide the fixes. We'll leave the nav aids in. And if we turn the weather mode on, you should be able to see the weather that Alberto was mentioning. Expecting some pretty gnarly storms into Santiago this evening. But there's a big storm here. In fact, we were lucky to avoid that because it's not too far south of Buenos Aires. Astor Piazzolla International was nestled right in the middle of that. I can't see any others around there, so let's grab the METAR for that. Oh, there's an airfield. That's too small though. Let's try and find one. SAZM. So the weather there is winds 330 at 18. Ceiling of visibility okay, and QNH 1016 seems fairly reasonable. But nothing on the weather radar really for us to think we need to be concerned. Dock is just FlyJuly.
Proximar 1002, could you please report your match speed?
Just going to dig up the Volanta Discord, make sure I have got it correct.
At 0.820.
Yeah, you must put a
Could you
tag
please
on your
reduce
flight
to
logged on
point
Volanta called FlyJuly,
79?
either in the active flight card under
Roger,
notes
reducing
or
to
after the
0.79
flight has
for
ended
Rockmart
in the
102.
flights tab. And you must end your flight before 15th of July at 23:59 UTC. And you can fly into or out of one of the following countries or territories, providing you track your flight on Volanta: Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Uruguay, Venezuela, the Falkland Islands, French Guyana, South Georgia and South Sandwich Islands. And you can fly to an airport or a heliport as well. You don't have to fly on any network. You can do it offline as long as you track it on Volanta. You must not use any slew modes or anything like that, and you must not attempt to exploit or misuse the system. Ashley's pointed out in our Discord server that RD Presets has actually created a Blue Air livery, and seems we'll be previewing their Naples scenery tomorrow. We might as well use that livery. Makes perfect sense. Phantom, no Sim Update 10 beta. I tend to avoid any beta products and things like that.
Luna 2201, listo a rodar. Luna 2201, rueda punto espera pista 35, vía Foxtrot Delta, Foxtrot Delta Hotel, y me va a notificar en punto de espera Hotel para hacer backtrack sobre pista 35.
It's great actually listening to different companies or different countries and they're on VATSIM.
Rodamos por Foxtrot Delta Hotel, te notifico un punto de espera de pista 35 para hacer backtrack en 35, Luna 201.
Alright, it's got to slow down to max 79, was too fast, whoops. Yeah, I think a lot of, I remember about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was all the rage, wasn't it, Hugh, where TUI, or was Thompson Airways at the time, their big push, their big business model was local airports. So Coventry, where I was learning to fly originally, Coventry, Blackpool, Carlisle, loads of them were basically, all of us, in Norwich as well I think, at one point. All of a sudden TUI were flying out of all of these different local small airports with 737s, was it the 737-500? I can't remember, I'm trying to think now off the top of my head which variant it was. But yeah, the business model didn't last. It was quite unsustainable. That's, I mean, back then as well, that was when Wizz became a thing. Wizz actually flew into Coventry and out of Coventry. Paul's flying to Aruba, very nice. Hopefully you see some flamingos. Tossor is there, so 100 nautical miles, 95 is when we've then got a report towards Tossor. Q, yeah, suddenly pulled out of them. I think they just realised that it was not a good business model at all. But the sudden pulling out was what kind of wrecked the local economies, because they just stopped very, very quickly. Over a period of about a month, they all started to one airport after the next, and then by the end of that year, most of them had pretty much lost all their commercial services. I'm surprised Doncaster actually managed to cling on for this long. But look at Southend. Southend was only really clinging on because of Wildero and, well, certainly because of, I think it was Ryanair, wasn't it? Or EasyJet, one of the two that were still flying there. We've got the landing rate monitor fired up too, so we're going to get our landing rating into Santiago, and all the links, as always, are in the description for today's live stream. So if you wanted to get hold of that CentralSim Buenos Aires scenery that we departed from, it's on offer at the moment on Sim Market. I think about €5, €6. So basically £5. It was super cheap, and actually not that bad for that price at all. I'm sure you guys would have agreed when you saw us depart. So you can get that via the links, and the latinvfr Santiago that we're flying into as well is also available via the links in the description too. And the route, if you want to copy it. Got loads of new channel merch on our provider Spring. Lots of sort of airport chart style things, like even Birmingham Airport themed pillows of various colours. New stickers, new mugs. Heathrow, Birmingham, two main feature airports within all of that, so do check them out, very cool. And loads of new notepads. Luke, hello buddy. Very good, thank you. Hope you're okay.
Luna 2201 está autorizado ingreso a pista 35 backtrack a cabecera, notifica alineado y en condiciones.
Autorizado backtrack en pista 35, notifico alineado en condiciones Luna 201.
Yeah, Hugh, but the major international airports love it because it's profit for them and their investors. The one thing I find surprising at the moment, I'm actually glad one of the travel folks, God Save the Points, really good travel blogger, was actually raised today, I think, or yesterday in a blog post. And it was something that I'd been thinking about over the last week or so. There's a lot of animosity towards the airlines with a lot of the chaos in the UK at the moment. But the airports aren't actually doing anything to try and solve the problem, and most of the issues are pretty much being caused by the airports, like the lack of security officers. So Heathrow, for example, having to get in ICTS on a contract to cover the security points that they can't man themselves. But they can't cross the two, they can't merge the two teams because of different rules and things like that. So if ICTS can only put 2 security guards on a post, they can only open 1 post instead of 2. Things like that. It's chaos, and you then spread that across the whole of the UK, and all these private companies making an absolute fortune from the chaos, but the airlines are getting all the rap for it, which I don't think is particularly fair. So I'm glad God Save the Points actually brought that to fruition and made it sort of more noticed within the community of travellers. Barna with Mark, hello. How do you set up the custom external views? So I've done a tutorial on the channel, so you can search within our channel here on YouTube for my custom view tutorials, and I've done a couple now, but they all follow the same sort of theme. But they've got certain presets that I've got set for keybinds. You can, for an alternate slightly easier method, just download my custom view pack from flightsim.to and try that too. But of course, as with anything like that, make sure you back up your original files in case you need to put them back in. Jim, yeah, it's a global thing, isn't it? Airports in the States having the same sort of issue. A lot of airports across Europe are struggling. Amsterdam, massively struggling. They had to cancel all the KLM flights globally a little while ago, didn't they? And bring all the aircraft back empty so they could get the network solid again. Global chaos, but hey, in the UK we apparently like to blame Brexit for it. But Amsterdam's still in the EU and they're having the same problem. Jim, I bet the regionals are loving it then. And that's the one thing I'm kind of a bit surprised by in the UK. I'm surprised companies like TUI haven't just moved flights away from Manchester and Gatwick. I'm surprised they haven't gone to more local airports again, like that business model that we were talking about 10-15 years back. And it wouldn't necessarily been sustainable, but they may have been able to boost the local economy for a short period of time, and also A, kick the big airports into gear, make them actually work, and B, sort out their flight schedule by kind of shipping out their route network to all the local airports around the major hubs, if that makes sense. It's possibly a way of, perhaps expensive way, but perhaps a way of making it work. For me, if I was running TUI and I had all the chaos at Manchester that they were experiencing, I would be looking at Leeds, Doncaster, Liverpool. I'd be looking at Blackpool, bringing that back for a temporary basis and sticking all your aircraft those and just doing, right, so from Liverpool we're going to do A, B and C routes, from Doncaster we're going to do D, E and F routes, and structure it like that temporarily for a year. And then Manchester will have a panic, they will sort out all the mess, and then TUI can just drip by drip slowly, one route at a time, return back to Manchester again. Yeah, I guess it's unavoidable for KLM with the chaos at Amsterdam, isn't it? There's only so many flights they can move, I suppose. Imagine Groningen being packed. It's such a small airport, as we found when we flew into there recently. Only a couple of stands. Give me shelter. I think I've actually done custom views for the Concorde, I believe. But use the ones that I've given in the pack and then just move them around to actually where you want them yourself, and then resave the views yourself once you've got them set exactly how you like. Yeah, Jim, all round you wouldn't mind that 1 hour drive at all, would you? In that instance. Dog, that is madness. I'm surprised Iceland Air haven't just ditched Amsterdam and just gone to Rotterdam instead. They can't fly into there that regularly, surely. Was it like a once a day thing like at Heathrow? Was it Heathrow might be twice or 3 times daily? Planned landing weight is about 54.8 or 54.9 tons. I think we can round that up to 17 left, and it's given us flap 30, landing altitude of 1,600 feet and a rough approach speed around 133 knots. And it's telling us, because the runway is so long at Santiago, we only need water brake 1. But actually, let's save the reversers, so we'll do reverse idle, recalculate it, and it's still saying we can use auto brake 1 quite nicely. So then the question is, where will we want to actually vacate the runway? Probably Bravo. Actually, Charlie, yeah, Bravo would be the best option. So 3,750 meters long, holy moly. This might be the longest runway we've used. We'll use auto brake 2. And we'll initially use reverse idle, but we'll assess as we go. We might need to use a bit of actual reverse thrust as well as we get a bit closer. Jimmy, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, COVID's made people think, you know what, I won't go back to that industry now. Which is hugely problematic for the airlines, and I don't think any of them have got any sort of short-term solution that they can consider using. I don't think they've actually thought that far or that near into the timeline at all. A lot of corporate ignorance with the airports, I think. A lot of complacency, and it's caught them all out. But unfortunately, it's making the airlines look bad. And I don't think it's really the majority fault for the airlines. I think maybe they're a minority. They're certainly trying their hardest. I don't think the airports are doing quite enough. Look at that down there.
SAM 1982, please contact with tower.
The link to this livery is also in the description if you want to get hold of that.
Thank you very much.
Charlie. Okay. So Charlie then will be auto brake 2 and reverse. It makes sense because then we would just taxi Hotel Papa down to the new international terminals. Concourse C and E. Yeah, we need, basically Charlie, Golf, Papa actually, looking at the charts for a taxi, I would imagine, I would assume. Yeah, fast exit, Charlie, right onto Golf, left onto Papa is what we would expect. Looking at the charts here. Happy days. Let's go GoPro cam for a bit on the dash. It's fantastic livery that they've painted here. Keep clicking that like button, folks, as well, if you've not given us a little thumbs up already. See if we can get closer towards 100 likes before we arrive. That'd be awesome. Just a veteran, welcome back. Hope you're well.
Va a prever Botra 1 Uniform para carta RMP runway 31 en Mar del Plata. Notifica para descenso.
This would be a cool region to control around, but I don't speak Spanish sadly, so it'd be almost impossible.
Botra 1 Uniform para RMP 31 en Plata. Notifico listo para descenso, Luna 201.
Oh yeah, Doncaster Sheffield is to permanently close at the end of October. I bet it ends up as houses. They only had a massive motorway upgrade to connect it to the motorway in 2018. That didn't last very long, did it? Ah, brilliant. We've got more rail strikes on the 27th of July as well. Although, to be honest, didn't notice them before. Blown up, good afternoon. Dock, yeah, well, we need some scenery for it really, because I would imagine as a default scenery, DSA is pretty rubbish. It's quite a sort of unique kind of airport building, isn't it? It's like Liverpool John Lennon almost, the way it's been styled. I mean, if anything, there's a reason for it to be created into a nice payware airport scenery. It's a bit of a kind of a memento of it. Right, here we go. So, Tosso, report 5 miles before Tosso. Just a veteran, any new MSFS products we can look forward to? So tomorrow, hopefully, we're going to be previewing the new RD preset in Naples. But again, it all depends on whether or not they get it to me in time. Tomorrow's the only day I'll be able to do it. They are working away at doing it. If not, we'll have to revise the plan and come up with a different route somewhere.
Yes, Lima Alpha, Bravo. If your nose is pointing to the northwest, it's okay. If your nose is pointing to the east, yes, you have to go via Kilo Alpha Bravo.
5 miles before Tosso. Hopefully this guy finishes the conversation nice and quick.
No problem.
So we are gobbling up the miles. Looking at the engine T's and P's, and they're all looking pretty normal as well.
Argentina 1280, please contact Mendoza Center 126.6. Have a safe flight, hope to see you soon, take care.
Contact Mendoza Center 126.6 for Argentina 1280. Thank you very much for the ATC, gracias. Have a good day. Awesome, we got control at 1266. Wrong frequency, 126. 6. Mendoza Center, good morning, Argentina 1280, flight level 380, inbound Tussauds.
Argentina 1280, very good morning, sir. Here are our contacts at 380, cleared UMKAL, flight level 380, report ready for descent, expect arrival UMKAL 6 Charlie in Santiago.
Report ready for descent and expect UMKAL 6 Charlie arrival, Santiago, Argentina 1280. So, top of descent in 250 nautical miles. We've still got a way to go, but actually let's just cross-reference all of our navigational data in the approach. So we're going to have a quick look at this UMKAL arrival. It wants us to be at UMKAL at or above flight level 240. Lawson at or above flight level 180. And L 449. Between flight level 140 and 170, which is there in the constraints. Speed reducing to 250 knots at SAFEL, that's correct, it's max 250. We can change that to a below. So we could do 250B if we wanted to. But we shan't worry because at or above flight level 110, then Ugola at or above 8,000. And the speed's coming down there to 240 knots, and then Tegeb 180 knots. I might want to do Puma actually at 180. And then it's just going to have a quick look at the speeds here. There we go. So basically what I'm doing is I'm asking the VNAV to recalculate. If we go 250B, let's say we can be at or below 250 knots at that waypoint there. It's got miles and miles to go before top of descent, so we could do a few bits figuring for the approach, but we might as well wait till just prior to that top of descent. The nearest peak, actually, by the way, is as we pass UMKAL to the right hand side of the aeroplane. We'll try and spot it. We'll be flying past a peak of 22,731 feet, so that's not far going to be just past the aircraft's altitude. We'll be passing just south of that peak, which will be quite cool, potentially really fantastic screenshot ability there as well. We'll keep an eye out for it. Just a veteran saying, any news on the SABE API for the weather radar? Yes. In short, Sim Update 10 is going to be basically the Sim Update where that gets released to PMDG and all the other developers. They'll then have to work to create their own weather radar from that point onwards. So I'm hoping by the end of August this in-op sticker will no longer be a thing, and we can then arm the weather radars. We can then arm the weather radars and actually activate them and use them. But the animations and things work, the sounds work for them, as you can see. But we just don't have it functioning yet. One day soon that will be working, and I can't wait for it. Alberto says that peak that we were just on about, it's going to be Mount Aconcagua, the tallest mountain in America. Right, we definitely have to spot that then. In fact, here's some of the mountains starting to build in here. A couple of them still flat for a little while. Off in the distance we can see a little bumps over the horizon, or I can. You guys probably won't be able to see that as we head nearer towards the Andes. Sponge Joe, sadly.
Windows Center, good day, Rocksmart 1002 here, flight level 380 just past Tosor.
Rocksmart 1002, good morning, fair contact, flight level 380, clear.
Javier, so what I've done
expect on-call 6 Charlie arrival.
Is I've ended up just putting ILS 17 in instead. So if we step through this, we'll see what it looks like.
And we'll report when ready to descend for Rocksmart 1002.
Yeah, there we go. So where it says ILS 17, without the Zulu and the X-ray and anything like that, there you go. So that's our missed approach, and that actually matches the ILS 17 Tango on the charts. Q, yes. That's a good point. I only crash when I'm in the helicopters. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty much matching the charts, though, isn't it? So if we click that across and we kind of do that split screen with the navigraph charts as a bit of an overlay too. Bingo. Bulky, Isilo, Tegeb, it's all there. So for that, Gav, what you want, buddy, is SCEL arrivals, ILS 17 left, that one, and then the UMKAL 6 Charlie arrival. And it's going to be a transition through Tegeb. Diego lives near the Andes as well, fantastic. Very jealous of that. Beautiful part of the world, I'm sure. I'm surprised by how flat Argentina's been. Diego, yes, and our alternate actually is Mendoza today. So if we can't get into Santiago for whatever reason, our alternate is Mendoza. Any plans on a glider group flight when the release? Just a veteran's asking. That's good. That's probably quite a fun group flight to have. Although I can't imagine it would be particularly long lasting. Diego, yeah, you make a good point. Argentina is a massive, massive country. Brazil's huge as well, in its own right. Let's have a little look at the map here. Yeah, Argentina is huge. Not as big as Brazil though. Brazil's just next level. Argentina is the second biggest country in South America after Brazil, looking at the map. Chile's pretty big as well, although it's not very wide. Chile is really long, goes down right down to Punta Arenas, and pretty much the very bottom of South America as far down as you can go. Isla Hosta, a little island sort of off the bottom of that. Is it Wollaston Island, Isla Herschel and Isla Hamite or Himite? And I think then it's a flip between Peru and Venezuela and Colombia for the next biggest. Over the halfway point now anyway. And yeah, we'll be flying over Mendoza. Less than 100 subscribers till 20,000. Exciting. We'll be doing a group flight on VATSIM when we do hit the target, and we'll be giving away 2 PMDG licenses for either the 700 variant or the 600 variant of their 737 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And each of the winners, so there'll be 2 winners, 1 license per winner, they can choose which variant they want out of those 2 options. Really cool, very exciting. Huge prizing, really. Very generous of PMDG to offer that as well to us.
Windows center of flight 722 with you, flight level 380, 12 miles inbound for 2.
722, good morning, cleared UMKAL flight
Look at that lake.
report rated, expect UMKAL 6 Charlie arrival on Santiago.
Maintain flight level 380, include the UMKAL 6 Charlie arrival for Osprey 722.
I'm going to make a note of some of these things we spoke about earlier on the charts. So we've got the ILS frequency of 110.3. The 4-letter identifier for it is India Uniform Echo Lima. It's a course of 176 degrees, which is also another word for track. We've got the Santiago VOR, which is 116.1, and the 3-letter code for that is AMB. Because it's, well, that stands for Arturo Merino Benitez International, which is the name of the airport in Santiago, hence AMB for the VORs, which is there. And we can see the fixed rings here, so we're going to have a 10-mile fixed ring. That's going to give us 8 DME. Actually, we'll do a 9-mile fixed ring, so that's going to give us prior to 6.
Argentina 128, proceed direct to UMKAL.
Proceed direct UMKAL Argentina 1280. Little shortcut while we're on the charts there. So 8 DME, take up at 5,000. 8 DME, 4,000, 3000 at 4.5. 3-degree glide slope, and the minimums is 1750. Now, because that's a huge figure, I'm actually going to use the rad out for this one, because it's only 200. You'll see why now if I go to this. So if we go Barrow, we start to fiddle around the bottom of the PFD here. Oops. You see here, Barrow is 200. Now I've got to scroll all the way up to 1750. Or I can just go to rad and just set it at 200. It's the same figure. Alberto saying, fun fact, the unofficial name of Santiago Airport is that everybody uses is VATSIM. Have I pronounced that correctly? So my pronunciation's great today, Alberto. How about that one? VATSIM. MPS Gaming, good evening. Hope you're okay. Actually want to be at Tegab at 5,000. And then we can add the fixes. So we're going to go for... Let's see if I can do this. Got 17 left. Ah. How's it referred to here? Runway 17 left. That'll do. So we'll do it from the threshold instead. We want 4. We'll do 4 and 10. There we go. So we've got 2 fixed rings. Now if we go to legs and I go back to plan, we can step through this. You should see, there we go, there's our 2 fixed rings, which are aligned with the threshold of the runway instead. Easy peasy. Ah, cheers Doc. Beat you to it on this occasion. I got there in the end. I always forget that, so I need to remember it. So eventually, a bit slow remembering it, but eventually I do get it. What else do we need to think about? So in the nav we can tune in Santiago 1161. I'm actually going to put it into both because I don't know which one I'll end up using. Neil, hello to you, welcome in the live chat. About to repeat himself as well because I took a little while. Can you say poo Thahul, or is it Pu Thahuel? Well. Interesting. So it's Pu Well. Amazing. Right, what have we got here? We've got some terrain popping up into view in about 120 nautical miles, which is the Andes. What was I doing down here? 1161. Yeah, that's Santiago's VOR. Good stuff. And we want 110.3. Actually, there's an interesting realization for you, Alberto. Well. Where's it going to be? What's it on? It's going to be on this page. Oh, it's not going to be on that page, is it? Damn it. It's on the charts. Look at the 4-letter identifier for the ILS. So if the unofficial name is Well, RUEL. So perhaps they've put this tiny little variation and created the 4-letter identifier based on that. There's a thought. It's a name in Mapuche, one of the indigenous tribes in Chile. Very nice. Course 176. What do you guys think of this slightly later stream for today? Obviously, if you're in Australia, New Zealand, and the Far East, like a lot of you, it's not great. But if you're in South America, Alberto and everyone else that's joined us today from South America, various countries, Chile, Argentina, and so on, or in America, then obviously this later time's probably a bit better. Blown up, yes they did. If you didn't catch the stream the other day, PMDG have updated the interior cabin to this beautiful high-res version, or higher resolution cabin area, with in-flight entertainment screens. They aren't touchscreen enabled. Much nicer seats as well, look at that. Really nice. An upgraded carpet, I think, too. And AOPA Pilot magazine with Robert Randazzo, one of his favourite aircraft, I think, from what I've gathered on the PMDG forums, the DC-3. Rather nice little nod to one of his favourite airliners there. Look at that. It's a cool, really nice upgraded sort of cabin, I'm sure you guys will agree. How about the cup holders? No animated cup holders there, or tray table. Yeah, I don't want to touch any of those. That's gravity extensions. There's our cup holder down the bottom there. Where is it? There's another cup holder. Oh well, cool. Can livery creators put custom screens in generic pilot is asking. I would imagine so, yeah, because... Oh, actually, we need to do that for Osprey if we can. Yeah, we'll just set your custom views. Shuts, it's a very warm one today, isn't it? Is your top of descent in between Mumat and UMKAL? No, it's before UMKAL. UMKAL's just coming into view now in 160, 155 nautical miles. Top of descent is about 20 miles, 30 miles before that. I think maybe even, yeah, maybe just before that. So, where are we so far? What we've done is we've tuned the VORs 1 and 2 into the Santiago VOR frequency of 1161. Both of those. We've got the standby frequency for nav 1 and 2 set to the ILS frequency, which is what we need. We need both tuned in for an ILS in the 737, and both course 1 and course 2 both set to the matching figures as well. Alberto, well, this is about 35 degrees here today, and in the room I'm in at the moment, I would imagine it's probably about the same because of the computer being a nuclear power generator at the moment. At least that's what it feels like too. 21 degrees is a beautiful temperature, Alberto, for us in, well, at least in I was gonna say us Brits, but you know what I mean. Yeah, very hot, Alberto. I think it peaked at 37 degrees the other day near Heathrow. I'd have to double check the figures. But I was working yesterday in extremely hot temperatures, and I was struggling, very struggling. Lancerus, welcome aboard. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. I hope you're well. Join today's South America route, Argentina to Chile. Yeah, Neil, that's the big thing, isn't it? We can't, anything over 19 degrees, they reckon you shouldn't take your dog out, according to the missus. Yeah, difficult for a German Shepherd when he just wants to go out and walk and do crazy stuff and he can't because it's too hot. So he's got to be tired out in different ways, i.e. like via his little paddling pool and all that sort of thing. Look at that river. That is spectacular. Grab a couple of those screenshots. We'll head outside, see if we can capture the same sort of thing. That's amazing. Look at that. Yeah, even 5:30 is going to be boiling, isn't it? I was thinking yesterday, if I would have taken my dog out yesterday, it would have probably been around 9 PM. But even that felt really hot still. You see on the horizon there's a lot of haze in the distance. It's kind of what we're flying towards as well. Oh, Neil, yes, I can quite imagine. I can imagine. Absolute carnage. Now there is our first peak of the Andes. Look at that. Covered in snow, as Alberto did say today. Wonderful. Let's get them screen shots on Volanta. They're already uploading. I think potentially we might be past to Unicom because Mendoza Center ends at UMKAL, which is where he's given us the direct to. So we then might be on to Unicom for a little while, onto our approach. Neil, nice. That'll distract him. That's the problem, John, isn't it? Yeah, that is the problem. But to the point where I'm genuinely actually looking into, if we weren't moving house and wiping out all of our finances on that, I'd be looking at getting some decent air conditioning put in. And I might look at doing that for our new house instead. In fact, in the new house, we could actually get some proper aircon potentially. Diego, yeah, so we should be passing slightly to the south of it, and I think that's the peak there. That is the peak of Mount Aconcagua. That one right there. Thinking about it, so we're kind of going to be heading off through that bit, and we're passing just to the south of it, and we'll only be 2,000 feet above the peak as we pass it. So that is going to be beautiful screenshot potentially. We're looking out for that. I can highly recommend the route, folks, if you do want to fly along offline. I mean, look at that. We're now going in alongside this river all the way up to the Andes. We can actually follow it with our camera and see it go up. That's as far as I can see it, actually. But I would imagine it's going to loop all the way off into the mountains. So we're going to be following this river up to the terrain. AV80, yeah. Yeah. In America, it's pretty much the norm, isn't it? I think for most to have some sort of AC. But in the UK, it's just not a thing. It's never been a thing. Alberto, this is a great route. Thank you for recommending it. And Helicopter Hugh as well, or Hugh Carson Brown, has, or aka Hems Sim Pilot, I think on Twitch, maybe, has given us our proposed helicopter route too, for us to do at some point in the future. John, nice. Unfortunately, that's incredibly expensive now with the fuel the price it is. Alberto. This is the area where a Uruguayan flight crashed in the 1970s and they ended up eating each other to survive. Yes, I remember that. That became a movie, didn't it? Flight 571. Because was there 1 or 2 survivors from it? I'm gonna have to Google this now. Yeah, Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571, Miracle Flight 571, and it was chartered from Montevideo, Uruguay, bound for Santiago in Chile. It crashed in the Andes on the 13th of October 1972. And they survived for 72 days by eating one another. And they were a rugby team. There was 1 survivor. Also known as the Jesus Christ Cannibals. Wow. The Old Christians Club rugby team, the rugby union team, took off from Mendoza. God, what a story. "15 survivors. Oh, fantastic. I say fantastic. You know what I mean. Look at that now, the mountains coming in to view. We've got 40 miles to top of descent, so bearing in mind we've got all the mountains here too. You can see we're going to be descending through the mountain range, through the Andes, and we've got to be careful really with our descent through the terrain, especially if that visibility starts to drop, as was on the earlier METAR for Santiago. Goodness me, it's definitely ice cream weather here. Yeah, better than only 1. I mean, this is looking pretty good, and this doesn't even have any sort of mesh attached to it or anything. This is just default photogrammetry. Look at that, wrapping off right into the distance there. Look at this high level cloud as well, down to the south. In fact, looking at it, yeah, it's a pocket of cloud actually up to the south. So we should just stay and remain clear of that. Let's see what that looks like in a screenshot. Also good with the contrast. So 40 miles to top of descent on the checklist then. Arrival and weather data, we need to obtain that and make sure that's set. SCEL, wind still variable at 6 knots, visibility only 6,000 meters. Scattered cloud at 14,000, broken at 23,000, QNH 1012. Temperature's 9 degrees Celsius. Only 100 members left to 20k MPS Gaming, indeed. Yeah, if you're watching in the background, make sure you click subscribe. We're almost at the 20,000 target, and we can launch a awesome giveaway. So we've done minimums. We can arm 1012, and we want to make sure the Stavros. So it's supposed to be the RD presets Naples scenery, but it's in the air a little bit at the minute. We're not sure if it's going to be ready in time. So if not, I'll have to rethink plans and do it next week. And we'll come up with a different route tomorrow instead. 54.9. So we want in the approach page. I'm gonna go for 50. Yeah, 54.9, 130. Flaps 30. It's going to give us a plus add 5. We've got 135 knots for approach, 130 over the threshold. Touchdown just shy of that. All that data's correct. Look how long that runway is, it's mad. We've done the fixes, we've checked the legs and the data. And our descent forecast page is all configured nicely as well. And we want auto brake 2. So destination weather's been set, landing altitude check 1,600. Radios are set. At the moment we're Mendoza Center. We're going to flick both of those when we go for the ILS to the active boxes for 1 and 2. We might be on to 1228 in a minute, so let's just get that ready. .228, and the courses are set 176, 176. Wing engine anti-ice as required. TAT's -23 at the moment, so wouldn't necessarily be needed. I'd imagine it's very dry, crisp air at the moment too. MCP altitude reset. Let's see what it gives us. Let's set 180 first. We'll just see what we get. So altimeter's been set. That's 1012.
Flight direct to UMKAL intersection.
Radio 200. And approach is briefed. Auto brake set as required. That's 2. So for the approach, we're going to be flying in via UMKAL, so pretty much heading west towards the airfield. We'll be approaching from the northwest. SAFEL reducing to 250 knots at above flight level 110, and then continuing the descent down and reducing our speed even further to Angola. And then we're going to be heading up to Puma, 6,500 at or above, and then moving on to the ILS Tango. So from Puma to Tegeb at 5,000 on the plate there, the cross section of the approach. 176 for the ILS, runway 17 left. Minimums are 200 feet on the radio altitude, radio altimeter. And what we're then going to do is, well, if we're good, we'll land. If not, we'll execute a missed approach, which is then flying past the Santiago VOR. Heading outbound 146, then left 067, climbing up to a maximum of 6,000 feet at that point. Echo Lima 138, flying a bit of a kinked downwind leg up towards Isilo. Back to Tegeb for another go. Should be fine. There's the elevation, 1,555 feet, which is why it's rounded up to 1,600 on our pressurization panel. Argentina 1280, request descent.
Santiago 1280, descend and maintain level 240. Be aware of moderate to severe turbulence when crossing Los Andes between flight level 200 and 22.
Descend flight level 240 and roger for the turbulence, Argentina 1280. Interesting. So we will get to about flight level 300 and then we're going to pop the belts on. Look at that. MPS Gaming, so have a little look. Ah yes, 1228, thank you, good shout. Good point, Norberto, thank you very much. 1228, that's correct now. Alberto, thank you very much. Let's get the belts on. Neil, to be honest, I'm not sure. I think it must be a setting somewhere. Here's chopper descent now, that's active. Down we go. It's a bit weird because we are descending towards the mountains, but we can see beyond that Santiago is down here somewhere. Actually, yeah, good grief. We're already getting turbulence here. It, like Doc's saying, is expected over these higher mountain regions. We're actually keeping our speed up. In a way, it's a bit like turbulence penetration speed. If we're flying slower, it gives the opportunity for us to get battered even more by the turbulence. So we're keeping our speed up. The aeroplane's having to work nice and hard. Look at that wing flex. Neil, yeah, you can, but it doesn't do anything. Oh my good grief, look at that for turbulence. Holy Christ. Mendoza should be coming up on the nose at some point in the future, over the ridge. But what I want to do is find, there's the peak. Highest peak in America. I want to make sure I'm in a position to get a screenshot of it as we pass it too.
Another center, Rocksmart 1002, request descent.
Rocksmart 1002, descend and maintain flight at 240.
I already passed Mendoza, of course I did. I got the shortcut, didn't I? Which is why we didn't pass it.
For Rocksmart 1002, thank you.
Affirmative. And moderate to severe turbulence when crossing Los Andes was reported flight level 200 and 280.
Copy on the turbulence, Rocksmart 1002.
We've got some great screenshots today, haven't we? What we'll do is we'll keep this panning round, because then actually as we fly past it, that is horrendous turbulence. But look how good it is with the sim actually getting this factored in. The fact we're experiencing it is very, very good indeed. It's throwing the VNAV path off a little bit, and you can see how the aeroplane's trying to solve it basically. Nice peak in the Americas. Peak there is 22,731 feet.
Terminated, frequency change is approved. Have a nice landing in Santiago.
Frequency change approved for Argentina 1280. Thank you very much for the ATC. Have a good day.
Bye bye.
We'll continue our descent now, all the way down. You know what? The autopilot's doing a great job of this. Lanceros back in 2014 on vacation climbed that very peak, Aconcagua. Fantastic. Yeah, NPS Gaming, I think it looks okay. Bearing in mind it's basically £5 on that discount that we mentioned. Buenos Aires. It's very nice for the money. For the money, well, I say very nice. It's not very nice, but it is certainly all you need, and very good for the price. Oh my god, what did I click? Turns out tab makes the follow off thing switch off. Fantastic. Right. God, I'm trying to get a decent screenshot here. Rating off into quite a steep descent with the turbulence, aren't we? Okay, right, let me fix my camera views because I've reset it with my fat fingers. So I always go drone speed 7, by the way, and rotation speed about 18 to 20. That tends to be perfect for an aircraft the size of a 737. Yeah, these screenshots won't necessarily work that well, will they? That one will. Bingo. Dios mio. What does that mean? Should probably get back into the flight deck in a minute and monitor the progress of our descent. Okay, right, sit rep time. Steep descent after Lausanne. That's interesting, that's our first one of those. Got warnings of steep descent. After Lausanne in 3 miles, so we'll make sure the seatbelt signs are on, they are. Give the crew a little ding to let them know that we're about to whack their nose down. That's all looking good, and we are then going to just monitor the descent as we make our way in. We make sure VOR1 is active as well. Lausanne. Look at this. Stunning. Great, exploring this part of the world. Look at that valley just off in the distance there. It's just remarkable, isn't it? Exploring this in such a great aeroplane. Imagine that sort of that GoPro perched above the captain's seat like this, watching everything. That'd be great. You know, perhaps it's just a setting inside the EFB or something then. So our steep descent then, look, as you can see, we're actually accelerating slowly beyond that speed target of 273. So to help the aeroplane out, we need to deploy ground spoiler to our speed brake into flight detent. So we'll pop those out. We'll make use of them. Views are great. Fat fingers. Look at that for a view. Zoom that right out. Keep clicking that like button as well, folks. And also, make sure you hit the subscribe button too. Not too far to go. And at this point, I'm actually going to turn VOR2 off because I want to activate nav2 with the ILS. Santiago's down there somewhere. That's just so good. Been a little while since we flew around in this region, and surprising to see how nice it is. Looks very realistic. Andy, good afternoon, welcome. I'm going to fire up Sky Dolly just because I want to see what happens, or what the replay will look like. Once we do get on the ground, we'll replay the approach if we get chance. We're going to go through transition, so let's go to local pressure 1012, and we're going to be passing SAFEL at or above flight level 110. There's a decel point there on the nav display. And a little early, but I'm going to turn all these on now anyway. Put the logo light on, why not? What's the SAT doing? +8, do. Look at that. Magnificent. Let's get that wing view again. Where has it gone? How's that, folks? As real as it gets. So we're heading towards this terrain, and then we're going over the lakes here towards Santiago, which I think is that little mass of concrete there. You can see little blobs of terrain all over the place that we've got to be careful of. How are we doing here? So decelerating through 10,000. Actually, the VNAV's doing a brilliant job of this. Let's switch now to Nav 1 active on the ILS, 1103 on both, 176 on both. And onto our approach checks then. So nav course frequency check and set speeds. We'll basically deploy the flaps as we go. Andy says his dad was stationed in Buenos Aires for 10 years. Wow, awesome. Where's Santiago? Look for the black cloud of smog. Is that it? In fact, that looks like rain in the distance. Haze and rain. Very cool. Kumar's coming up. Santiago traffic, Argentina 1280 is a 737 QNH 1012 on board, descending through 8,000 feet inbound for the ILS Tango, runway 17 left, will report. Established Santiago traffic. Use the speed brake again, help the aeroplane decelerate. That's so cool, look at that. So 238, flaps will be okay at this point. How many miles do we have though? We've still got over 20 miles to go. So we're not in a massive rush to decelerate the aeroplane and start whacking flaps out. We can help decelerate up to a point where we're quite happy with our speed and things and our descent profile. That is looking fabulous. There's the haze off on the hills over there. Now that's impressive because it's showing that actually the sim has modelled in the meteorological effects very accurately. Get that rotor cloud and things like that, and the hill fog in certain areas. Look at that fog, folks. Absolutely spectacular. All these screenshots will get dumped onto Volanta. Oh wow, look at the visibility now. I think we're going to be going right in on minimums here. Clear the spoilers. In fact, we're just below the glide slope now already. Let's go flap 5. Ah, that's rather sad. The lakes are dry with a 13-year drought. Holy guacamole, there's loads of screenshots there. Auto brake 2, we've got rid of that now. Let's arm the spoilers and we're going to go to flap 5. That's now set. And let's arm approach. CMDB. Santiago traffic, Argentina 1280 is established, 14 miles, ILS 17 left to land. We'll report vacated. Santiago traffic. So, just above the glide slope. Missed approach is going to be to 6. Let's get the approach plates ready to go. We can clear the Yankee. We don't want the Yankee charts. We're on ILS Tango. There we are. So that's good. Missed approach is to 6,000. Single channel ILS. Leveling off at 5 almost, but bringing our speed to 160. Let's hold 160 till 6 again, as always, as per the usual kind of rule that we enjoy here, and we're going to go to 6,000, so that is reset too. John, absolutely bit of pea soup here. Let's go flap 10. Still going to hold 160 on the speeds, and we're going to put the engine start ignition mode switches to continuous. Speed brake, we're going to check that is armed. It is. It's warning of drag being required, but that is absolutely fine. We're already slow, and we're going to get drag naturally through gear and flap deployment. Look at that, folks. That is incredible. You know what? Where's that cabin view? That's stunning. Rate that view out of 10, folks. It's haze with smog. Wow. Actually, to be honest, it is actually haze on the METAR.
Here we are about 30 nautical miles for runway 17 left.
8 miles, gear down, flap 15.
2500.
Santiago traffic, Argentina 1280s, 8 mile final. 17 left. Get some wing lights on as well. 7 miles. Lap 25. Neil, so basically what I do is use Windows game bar, Xbox game bar. Look at that, the other side, stunning. 11 out of 10 from you, Gisco. Thank you very, yeah, awesome views, isn't it? Wonderful views. 5 miles. Latin VFR scenery, Diego, indeed, yeah, Santiago's Latin VFR scenery. Or Latin VFR's Santiago scenery, I should say, for Microsoft Flight Simulator. 5 miles now, let's go for lap 30, and we're all set up, ready to go. In here, 130, 130, let's now bring the speed down to 135. Important we reduce our speed correctly. Gears down, 3 green, and all our speed's ready to go. Flaps are set for landing, go around attitude is set, autopilot and auto throttle is add required. That's the middle marker. We're waiting for the approach lights, which we can just about start to see now. Where my cursor is, I can just start to see the runway coming into view. We're okay to minimums. And here's the runway. So, where's the throttle levers? Auto throttle off, autopilot off. My controls at my aeroplane. Little dip there. Just retrimming. That's my view that I like. Nice and stable. 300. Nil wind. It's a bit interesting in the haze actually, making it a little bit more challenging, but continue.
Santiago traffic, Rossmart 1002,
watching the touchdown zone.
Left, 15 nautical miles.
And to the end.
50, 30, 20, 10.
Holding the flare, holding the flare, holding the flare. Oh, how's that, folks? Minus 28 foot per minute. Let's go reverse green. Smooth as you like. My little extra float there made me lose the intended vacate area, but that's all good. Vacate Bravo and then taxi all the way around. Santiago traffic, Argentina 1280 is vacated at Bravo, vacating right onto Kilo Hotel Papa for the international terminal. Similar, Elliot, hello to you. Pop that on. Too steady, APU's fired up. Landing lights off. Welcome to Latin VFR's Santiago scenery, folks. Spoilers disarmed. We pop those off and auto brake off. Probe heats off. Ryan, hello. Sorry, yeah, you did ask that on short final. I didn't get the opportunity to reply. How did you set the outside chase plane view style thing so it's drone camera? I use my WASD keys, they're all default in the sim. And if you saw a little earlier on as we crossed the Andes, we had to reset the drone camera, so I was using 7%, sorry, yeah, about 7% speed, and rotate speed of about 18 or so. Here we are, Alberto's hometown. Fantastic. Great to be here. Look at the mountains in the distance there through the haze. Remarkable. We've got latinvfr's ground pack here too. Oh, we can go left here. That'll do. That's perfect. That's what we want. Gotta go all the way around to the other terminal. What I'm hoping I can do, I have to be quicker here. Not a bad bit of scenery, this is it, folks. Very nice bit of payware. This is what I want. And I want to increase the speed of it all so I can go zoom zoom. Just check our position there. Oh, he's down. Varys, I think. Ryan, yeah, 35 frames per second, all locked. Oof, look at that. That's the only thing with drone camera. If you spawn out of drone cam, it literally clears the LODs around your plane when you move away. What you see now used to be the entire airport. Now it's just national flights. Interesting. So this whole thing is just for domestic. That whole terminal.
Traffic, 1002, vacated runway 17 left via Bravo.
And Alberto, does it look really accurate? We'll explore the textures and things a little bit as well as we get once we get parked up. Because we're using Sky Dolly, what we'll do is, do you guys want to see a replay of the touchdown? Phantom, no worries, buddy. Have a good one. Yeah, we should have taken the previous left, which would have taken us onto golf. But I think I was aiming for hotel, wasn't I? And I got a little bit confused. But all good. We'll do a little southwest style taxi with a left and a right at speed. Followed by the next left onto Papa.
Santiago traffic, Osprey 722, so left on the ILS, runway 17 left, 1 mile.
Azza, welcome. So there's the new concourses down the bottom here, which Alberto is saying is only just recently opened all of this. So we'll be parking. Ooh, what are we aiming for? Terminal C or E, so it was any. Let's park here, this first concourse, shall we? There we are. Right next to that jetty. You notice that little bit of weathered look on the dash. Come to a nice slow halt. Have we done it again? 737. Is that 783? Ah, 763. Damn it, misread. A340. Oh, it's all the way back there, isn't it? Oh well. Heartbreak on. That'll do us. Basically, we've got to keep the engines running because we're going to do a replay. But it's important on Volanta that we end our flight because we are going to be logging it for the purposes of entering the competition. There's the airport in all its glory. We're going to have a good look around this as well because it looks pretty vast. Got it today just for the purposes of today's live stream, and it looks fantastic. Very green though. Wasn't sure if it was a particularly accurate representation of it, but Maciek, welcome, joining us right at the end, but you've still got the replay to watch, so not all is lost through this wonderful bit of haze. Live weather as well. Here we go, Gav. Final pilot of the day, I think. Through the haze. Seeing. Looks to be 737 as well. By the way, because our lights are off, his lights are off, so very quickly, pretty sure this is the case. Yeah, sorted all, can't see them anyway. There's the touchdown zone, the big squares. Still shaded through the haze, it's fantastic. Look at that. There's the lights. That looked like a great touchdown. It's rather jazzy lift music. Ah, smooth. It's vacated there as well. Great work. So we've parked up over at, for those of you flying along, Charlie 2. So feel free to park around there. What I'm going to do is just zoom in to make sure we haven't got any other people flying in. Then we'll go into that replay that we mentioned. Oh, perfect. Yeah, it's literally just us two. So, on that basis, we've got follow mode off. That touchdown cam, about here-ish. Let's do that. We'll hit play. Basically, we have to go back into the aeroplane because it doesn't remember anything, so we've got to reset some stuff. Yeah, like spoilers. It thinks the spoilers are deployed. They're armed again now. Gears down, flaps are up, look. But actually, we wanted flaps 30. So, we're having to quickly deploy all the flaps. There's the aeroplane. Need to turn landing rate monitor off as well, because that minus 28 touchdown, you don't want to be in flight for the second one. Yeah, Doc, that would be great. I know they're looking into the particle elements of it. We get to see how smooth that touchdown was from the outside now. I think that was the smoothest landing I've ever done as well. Minus 28 foot per minute. 0.9 something G as well, which means that in effect we touched down with no G whatsoever, or almost lighter than gravity feeling. Here we go. kind of see it cutting through the haze. Oh, look at that, smooth. That's great. What a touchdown. There's me missing my turn. We vacated off and away. So, while we're mucking around with that, let's go camera. I'm using this to get us a bit closer while I fiddle around with it. There we go. So, while Sky Dolly continues to replay everything, let's have a little look around this airport scenery, shall we? So all the links again, as always, are in the description for today's live stream. And this is latinvfr's Santiago scenery here in Chile, home of Alberto, one of our channel members. How's that look? A bit weak on the ground textures there on the floor area, I suppose. And it would be nice to see a Chile flag that's animated. Holiday Inn. From a distance you don't really notice that too much. It looks alright, doesn't it? We are in haze as well, so the sim can render the light very strangely at times. A very cool looking terminal building though. Some of the textures though up close, we go up close, are really low resolution. That's the only gripe with this that I noticed earlier on as well. So like a lot of the textures here, right up close, are very, very poor quality. Has that got an interior? Oh, it has. But even the roof area, very low qual, low resolution textures, but the glass works really nice. Let's see. There we go. There we are, taxiing back. The glass textures work quite well. Smash. Custom ground textures are quite cool. Really nice crisp clean apron areas, and the cargo section with an Atlas Air static down the bottom, which is a nice little nod as well. And this whole new section here, Sky Cargo with a LATAM A321 Neo in fact. Pretty cool. Very nice bit of scenery. Yes, it has weak texture work, but in the main you don't really pay that much attention to it right up close. So if it's discounted, I think it's quite nice. I wouldn't necessarily pay full price for it though. Depends what you guys think really. Right up here as well, we go into the sort of north end of the airfield, all the maintenance areas for LATAM and the tower. All MPS gaming, perhaps converted from the P3D version. They do have Santiago version 2 for P3D. But for $17.99, I think it's it's a nice airport with a size. And it's nice being in this part of the world, but I've got a bit of an issue with the texture work. I think it could be a lot better. Doesn't look too bad, does it? There we are, taxiing in. Oh, from here, if you're going up and away with the hills in the background, it's a fantastic airport backdrop. Little helipads over there as well. Yeah, it is good. It is nice. On the higher end of the price range, though, for the quality, I think, which is probably reasonable as a comment to make. Ignore the flaps and everything for now. There we go. Argentina's Buenos Aires with the CentralSim Buenos Aires scenery for MSFS, a nice bit of payware, all the way to here, the latinvfr Santiago payware scenery, again MSFS with the PMDG 737-700, really nice livery as well, which is all available on flightsim.to. Thank you to our controllers on both ends of today's flights. I hope you guys have enjoyed having the traffic with us, and everybody who's taken part, flown along as well. Hopefully you've enjoyed the trip and the route, and logged your little entry to the Volanta / Orbx FlyJuly giveaway in your Volanta flight notes too. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you to everybody who's hit the like button and subscribed, and Alberto and John earlier on for dropping your generous super chats too, supporting the live stream. If you've not done so already, hit subscribe before you head off, hit the like button, and if you're watching this post stream, share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Grab all those links in the description, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care.